How's it going, everybody? This is Seer here, and today we're going to be doing gameplay testing for Quasar. And I did some testing already with him without having his Awakened abilities, and he has a lot of flexibility that's able to rejuvenate some of the not older teams. I'm still trying to use teams that's post Ares because those are the teams I usually recommend using. So that way you don't have to worry about using them with like a Hive Mind, Spider Society, even teams like No Avengers War Dogs, where they're more luxury teams at this case, as opposed to more mandatory teams. Teams that's like Night Stalkers, Orcus, Annihilators. I want to use these post-Ares teams because I don't want people to kind of waste their resources. Now, as far as his kit goes, you can see he has 3 Awakened abilities on here. I've not done these Awakened abilities yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a lot of these testing on teams that's more meta in the defense portion. Then I'm going to end up doing another portion of this video to where it has the Awakened abilities, so we can really see how important these abilities are. So for his basic on the Awakened, this is where it's going to do the Flip Disrupt on War Offense, always steal 10% health from the primary, as opposed to just from the Cosmic target. The special, this one here does not have any Awakened abilities on it. With the ultimate on War Offense, clear all battlefield effects on the allied side. This would end up stopping somebody like Mephisto or Nova, which is more of an older character. I didn't do any testing with like the Nowhere or Out of Time team just because, again, they're free Ares and I didn't really want to work on that. And then this is also going to be doing the battlefield effect for the Quantum Construct, which, again, I've not ended up testing this out just because it's the Awakened. I want to do these testings without that Awakened portion. For the passive, this is going to end up giving on any turn, clear the barrier on all enemies. All allies gain 25% drain, lower the damage reduction for the legendary and mythic enemies by 35%. Just right off the bat, the ultimate and the passive look like they're going to be a very high, not priority as far as like essential, but they're going to be a pretty good priority for the ones I want to start pushing for. The basic here looks more like a luxury choice on here. As far as the ISO, I was using the Striker portion. The reason for that's because the Striker, I believe it still gives the +1 offense up and the slow on here, and it's going to steal the 10% from the Cosmic. Once we end up getting the Awakened ability on here to where he's always going to steal 10% health from the primary, I think that's going to be more of the essential portion of it, to where you really want to lean into that Striker. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the testing. All right, so for this portion of the testing right here, this team here was very rough to still try to take out. The teams I was really testing it with was the Annihilators 4-piece with Quasar. I did some with the Undying team. I even tried throwing Ares in here. The Night Stalkers, Orcus, Astral. I did try out the Astral. That didn't go well either. So the team I did have to lean into to really beat this would end up being the Mephisto being added in here. But just so you have a kind of awareness what ends up happening in this matchup, if we do this 4-piece Annihilators with Quasar in here, I'll kind of go in, show you how far I was able to really get on this to where it could kind of turn into like a 2-tap portion on here. The Annihilators makes this pretty rough though, because Ares is going to end up taking the buff on here for the taunt. They end up taking their turn, which makes it to where Ms. Marvel Classic now has the taunt on herself. So if we try pushing into the Ares on here, let's go ahead and use the ult here with Gore now. And right here, we're going to end up using the special. All right, so this portion here, I like using the special as opposed to the ultimate. That is able to get like the slow on here, but now we have Odin's special out. So he's going to have those charges, which is kind of wreck us on here, as you see. All right, so here comes Kahori going in. Now we have the taunt back on Ms. Marvel Classic. Let's use the special right here. All right, let's use the special with Gladiator. All right, so now the taunt is off. Let's go into the Odin. Let's go ahead and basic, see if we got this mind control hit going. All right, so now the battlefield effect is out, and it's pretty much a wash to where we're not going to end up doing anything, right? So you can kind of see how rough this matchup could end up going. Now, something interesting as far as another option is we're going to go in there with the Astral team. Astral was really interesting as far as how this matchup ends up going. So let's go down, grab Astral. We have the 4-piece. We took Moondragon out. The reason this one is interesting is because we're able to kind of go into Odin a little bit quicker than the Annihilators. So right off the bat, they don't have that immunity. Ares really doesn't take anything. So now we could go right into the Odin right here. Now the ultimate here, this is going to clear charge, attack, primary, and adjacent. Flip all nade effects, which we don't have on war offense. If there's trauma, do the reduction, which we don't have. This is going to allow us to put ability block on there, though, which we don't really want because that's going to get ability block on Odin. He's going to do the basic first, get the battlefield effect out. I do like using the special here. This is going to get defense down, slow, offense down, and exposed. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so there we got the special with Odin. He ends up taking off the exposed right there, so that's not good. Let's go special here. All right, let's go in special with Shadow King. All right, so now we're going to end up doing... Let's do a special, try to flip all these buffs into negative effects out there. All right, Ms. Marvel Classic is doing her ult. That's going to heal up Kahori, unfortunately. There's a rewind from Super Scroll. But as you can see, we're kind of stuck on these taunts right here, which is kind of ruining our day. So there we got Shadow King killed off. Doctor Strange has an ability block, so I'm not going to be able to bring him back. All right, let's go ahead and go into Odin. Let's ult here. All right, let's ult into... I don't really want to ult into Odin. That's going to give him speed up, but he's about to take a turn. We might be able to go before our Quasar. So let's go ahead, target Kahori and ult. That's going to get Safeguard on us. There's a ping. Let's go ahead and ult. That's going to get Shadow King back out, and that's going to get a ping. All right, so we are stuck on a taunt, which means we can't get Odin. Let's go ahead and ult. There's a ping. We are so close to getting that Odin killed off. I don't think we're going to make it, though. All right, there's an ult. That's good. That's good. Let's go ahead and special. So I've done so many testing with this, but I wasn't able to get it. Let's special here. We're stuck on the taunt. All right, special. That killed Odin. We're not out of the woods yet. We still have that Kahori we got to deal with. All right, basic. All right, let's go ahead, ult here. Ult with Strange, bring back Shadow King. Okay, okay. There goes Quasar, though. Well, I didn't get Shadow King, we got... oh, dang. All right, so yeah, this would end up becoming a cleanup, but this was a good hit. This was the best hit I actually got on here. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. We're going to end up doing another matchup. All right, this is another rough matchup. This one here, we have the Annihilators. We have Null and Mephisto. The Annihilator 4-piece Quasar didn't work well. The Undying really didn't work well. I believe I tried the Night Stalkers. I was able to get a decent hit on this one. Let's try switching Quasar to a Raider, though, for this portion. So I'll kind of show you what happens with this one. This one here, we're stuck on the Gladiator at the start. So we're able to kind of take out Gladiator, Thanos, Endgame. From there, Null and Mephisto just kind of ruin our day on this. So let's go ahead and use the ultimate here. So there we get the trauma ability block out. We're going to end up doing a rewind here with Blade. All right, let's go ahead and ult here. That's going to get the exposed and kill him. Now we're kind of stuck at the mercy of the Null that's going to start taking his turn. Gore's ulting. And now Mephisto's got the pact out there, and it's pretty much game over. So it's not a great hit as far as that one goes. The team that worked best on this one, again, was the Astral team. So it really begs the question, is Astral going to kind of become an offensive team on here? Where, again, like I said, the Undying, even Undying Ares. Let's try the Undying Ares on here so you can kind of see what happens with this one. We're able to take those buffs off, which is good. However, we don't have Scarlet Witch, Zombie on here. Let's see if we can try and get a kind of a streamer luck hit, I guess you can say. So it's special here with Zombie Juggernaut. Let's go ahead and special into Mephisto, see if we can get the kill on him there. All right, let's go ahead and target Null. We're going to ult here. This is going to get the ability block trauma stuff out there. All right, let's go ahead and spread from here. All right, so there's a push from Thanos endgame. This actually turned out to be a pretty good hit. And if we end up doing it this way, we actually get our... There's a... That... if we end up doing this way, we still get to use Zombie Scarlet Witch elsewhere. So that Ares was pretty clutch on this one, actually. Let's go ahead and just finish him off. Alright, let's special here. And yeah, that worked. So there's one option. Let me show you the Astral version for this hit. The Astral is very interesting. So let's go into this one, and you're going to see why. They're not going to have their immunity. We're going to be able to kind of go all in on Mephisto right off the bat for this one. All right, so Gore's going first. There's the ult. That's because of Null right here. All right, so let's go ahead, ult into Mephisto. And let's go ahead, target here, and actually let's target here in special. That's going to end up getting ability block into Gladiator. All right, let's go into Null, and we're going to ult. And let's go ahead and ult into Gore. This is going to rebound. That's going to get a safeguard. All right, there goes Null. There goes Gladiator. Let's go ahead and let's ult so we can heal up. Just because we have that Thanos passive coming. All right, there's ult here, and yeah, that's pretty much game over. So that's the Astral version of this hit. So there's two different teams that you can kind of use to take that one out. All right, for the Astral team with Black Cat, I believe I end up using the Undying team with Quasar in here. So he's a pretty good fifth member for this Undying team. And again, you can always take out Zombie Scarlet Witch. You can throw in Ares. That's going to allow you to use Zombie Scarlet Witch elsewhere to kind of stop any form of turn meter. So right off the bat here, I do want to try to take out the Shadow King as quickly as possible. We want to try to get an ability block control over here on Doctor Strange. So let's go ahead, special here. That's going to get slow. And let's just go all in on Ancient One. I like to kind of go for her as well. So now let's go ahead, ult here. This is going to get that ability block out there. All right, so now let's go ahead, target Shadow King. We're in a basic here. Get that striker shot in, a lot of health gone. And there goes a Zombie Juggernaut. However, we got Zombie Scarlet Witch. That's going to summon another one out here. Nice ability block control. All right, let's go ahead and special here into Shadow King. And we're going to target Ancient One. Let's go ahead and ult. That's going to spread. It was Shadow King. And let's go ahead and get an ability block here on Emma. And special, get the striker, actually no striker shot because that's a summoned zombie juggernaut. All right, let's go ahead, target Wonger's ult here. It's going to kill Ancient One. Good damage on Doctor Strange. Let's try to take out Doctor Strange real quick before he tries to do a revive on us. All right, special here. All right, there goes Wongers. And yeah, as you can see, we have all this control now to finish up this Astral team. So Undying, Quasar, really good comp as far as that goes. All right, for the Liberty team with Professor X, I wanted to test against this one. They don't have any form of pre-taunt, so you are able to kind of snipe out that Professor X on here pretty early. So I did end up going with the Annihilators. I took out Ultimus. I threw Mephisto in. This would end up allowing us to just go all in on Xavier, get him killed off. Then it's a really fairly easy-ish cleanup on the Liberty team. Liberty is still a very strong team, even once you get rid of that Professor X on here. Probably one of the top war teams right now. So let's go ahead, target Xavier. We're going to use the basic right here. We got that striker shot. And let's go ahead, basic into Xavier. There he goes. So now we just have a kind of a standard-ish matchup. But again, Liberty's usually able to take out the Annihilators on here. We do have that Quasar in here as well. So their Patriot's kind of taking his turn. Cap Sam doing the ultimate. Quasar's getting messed up on here. So let's go ahead, use that ultimate. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to target Peggy. We're going to use this ultimate. This is going to get that ability block trauma out there. There's the striker shot. There goes Peggy. Let's go ahead, special into Cap Sam. And special here. All right, so there goes Falcon Joaquin. Patriot going. All right, let's go ahead, basic here. Let's get rid of that Captain Sam. Let's special over into Falcon Joaquin. There's an ability block on him. And I'm just going to take him out. There goes Cap Sam. Now we just have this easy cleanup for Patriot. So this was a pretty easy-ish matchup, even with that Xavier on there. But that's because we had that Mephisto to just kind of snipe him out of the way. So for the Vigilante team, I did try two different comps on this one. The ISOs aren't really ideal on them, but it really doesn't matter. The Night Stalkers Quasar was able to work. Night Stalkers in general is kind of a risky-ish matchup because as soon as Silver Sable or Punisher goes, they really rip into them. Orcus, though, with Quasar, this one was very interesting. Usually, the Vigilante team just kind of mouths through the Orcus team, making it to where Orcus being on offense as far as the weapon they can use with them does kind of entice me a little bit. So the way this matchup's going to end up working, they don't have immunity because of Quasar right here. So we can end up using this ultimate. That's going to get slow on all of these enemies over here. We're going to ult with Omega Sentinel. That's really good damage. Now we can special with Nimrod. That's going to end up flipping these positive effects into negative effects. We're going to use the ultimate here from Quasar. That's going to get trauma ability block. And now we're kind of stuck behind this taunt here. We do need to get through them a little bit quicker. Let's use the ultimate here from Sentinel. That's going to get the striker hit as well. And there he goes. Now we need to try to take out this Punisher. We have a lot of villains on our side of the field, so I'm going to go all in on Punisher. See if we can get him killed off. Let's special here. All right, so there goes Hit Monkey. Now Punisher has offense up. This is going to end up hurting us. So we do have to take overpowered into account. A lot of people have overpowered on Punisher right there. However, we also have G20 on some of the Orcus members just due to the global villain node. So it could end up being a wash, but you do want to end up taking into account if they have gear tier 20 on this. But as you can see, Orcus kind of mowing through Vigilante here with Quasar is pretty cool, I think. So that is that matchup. Let's go ahead, try and jump over and get some Awaken abilities on Quasar. And I want to jump back over to those first two matches that we looked at, because those are the very meta defenses that we could end up seeing. So the two-piece Absolute A-Force, Odin, Ares, Super Scroll, I want to test under that with the Awaken, and this Annihilator's Mephisto Null, because that was a pretty rough one. Using Undying into 3, I think, is fine. We'll kind of touch base with that one again. So we'll go back with the Awaken and test these three defenses out. All right, so as you saw, without the Awaken abilities, this team was very difficult to take out, and it basically took this Annihilator's Quasar team. I had to add Mephisto in, and I was able to get the victory on that one. That is not the case anymore because of these Awaken abilities. Quasar's ultimate, to where he gets the battlefield effect out, is a game changer for this matchup. So let's go in with this 4-piece, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about on here. This matchup is a totally other side of the coin as far as how this typically ends up playing out. I ended up testing out a lot of teams on this one once I got the Awaken abilities on Quasar. So I'm gonna say he's a very fun character to play now. So let's go ahead, ult here with Ultimus into Ares right here. We're gonna ult with Gore, and as you see, this heal, because of the passive Awaken from Quasar, getting it to where there's that drain attack is pretty crazy. Now is the fun part. So let's go ahead, ult here. This is gonna end up killing Ares. We're gonna get this battlefield effect out there. Odin basics, there's no battlefield effect, and this is the thing where it basically stays on the field for X amount of turns. There we end up losing Gore. That's actually never happened before. So let's go ahead, special here. We're still gonna stay all in on Odin right here, and it's really going to come down to Quasar kind of soloing. So the reason I end up doing the special with Thanos endgame is because we get the exposed out there. Quasar plays very well with exposed targets. Let's go ahead, basic here, and nice damage, nether swipe, no battlefield effect being removed. Let's go ahead, special here. That's going to kill Odin with the striker shot. There we go. Now let's go all in on Kahori. I'm not even worried about the Super Scroll right now. Let's ult here into Kahori. Super Scroll's basic. There's a counterattack because of the exposed right here. Let's ult here. This is going to take the positive effects off of Ms. Marvel Classic. All right, let's basic here. Try to get rid of that Kahori. Basic. I said, let's get rid of that Kahori. There we go. All right, Ms. Marvel Classic doing that ult. Let's special here. So there's the exposed out there. Let's go ahead and ult with Ultimus. Special. Striker shot, hopefully. There we go. Kahori's dead. And this was without the Gore. This was actually the worst attempt it took for me to actually get this match to work. So, I didn't even try last time either. Let's just go ahead and get rid of this. Have the battlefield effect out there, and yeah, matchup over. There's a couple other teams that was very interesting into this, so let's go back in here. We're gonna end up doing the 4-piece Undying with Quasar now. For this one here, you don't need the areas, as you kind of see, and it really leans on just getting that battlefield effect out there from Quasar. Because of that battlefield effect, we really have no worries at all. It just shuts down Odin. It's kind of ridiculous how this plays out. Let's ult here. I'm going to go into Ares again so I can get the ability block there on Odin. As you can see, battlefield effect is in play. Let's go ahead and special here into Ares. Got bleeds out on everybody. Let's go ahead and special here. That's going to end up getting the striker shot from our zombie Juggernaut. All right, let's go ahead and spread all these negative effects. Now we got everything out there. How many negative effects? Yes. We got ability block, disrupt, we got slow, a lot of bleeds. Let's go ahead, special here. All right, so there goes Super Scroll. Kahori took out Ares. Let's just go all in on Odin. Let's ult here. Nice drain. Heal back up there, buddy. And there goes Ms. Marvel Classic. And let's as you see, we're not even worried about Odin now. Let's just take out that Kahori. There we go. Let's take out Ms. Marvel Classic. Now I'm just trolling. I'm trolling at Odin. How crazy is that? Ult matchup over. Ridiculous. There's another one which is pretty interesting. So if we go back into here, let's go into the Night Stalkers on here. I want to see what happens on this one. I don't remember if I did this one or not, to be honest, because I was just too blown away about the other two matchups on here. So with this one, Ares takes the buffs away. There's the passive shot. Let's go ahead and ult here. Battlefield effect is in play. Let's ult with Blade. And Ares is getting jacked up. There we go. Let's go ahead. We're stuck on the taunt. Let's ult here. That gets the exposed out there. Striker shot from, or assist from Blade. Swipe. And yeah, that did nothing. Looks like this might end up working as well. The ability block into Quasar is different. All right, let's ult here. All right, so there goes Ms. Marvel Classic. Oh my god. All right, let's go ahead and there goes Super Scroll. We got stuns on them. Let's just finish off the Odin. This is ridiculous. Yeah, I'm speechless. The next one is going to end up being the Orcus. So those were like the 4 main teams I really tested out. I even did the Astral into another matchup, but honestly, you don't need the Astral one to get these Awakened abilities. It's just insane. So this one here is really interesting because of we're going to be able to use Scientist Supreme's ultimate on here. So there we go. Ares takes those buffs. We're going to ult out here. This is going to get slow on everybody. Defense down, offense down. Let's go ahead and ult with Omega Sentinel. And let's go ahead and special. This is going to end up flipping. Let's go ahead and ult here into Ares. That's going to get the striker shot. There he goes. We got the battlefield effect out. Let's go into Odin here with an ultimate from Sentinel. And he's almost dead already. Let's just take Odin out. All right, so there's the first turn from Kahori. There goes Odin. All right, there goes Super Scroll. Now let's go ahead, special here. All right, basic. Let's ult here into Kahori. There's the trauma. Let's throw the ability block on her as well. And we'll get ability trauma over here on Ms. Marvel Classic. We're just going to take out this Kahori. But yeah, this is insane of what that ultimate and passive. The passive, what that does for us is it gives us the drain. So that way it gives that extra survivability that we need for a lot of these teams. The ultimate, getting that battlefield effect, just shutting down Odin. Let's go ahead and jump over here. This one here, we have a 3-piece Annihilators. We have Null. We have Mephisto. Again, we'll go down the list. So this one here is going to be Annihilators Quasar. This one here was pretty easy as well, just because of the drain factor that we actually have. It gives that extra survivability to the rest of the Annihilators team. Let's go ahead and ult here. We're going to end up ulting with Gore. All right, so the enemy Gore is now taking their turn. All right, so now we could end up doing the ult here. This is going to get that battlefield effect out there. We got trauma ability block on Thanos endgame right here. Null is doing the ult. There's going to be no darkness over here, so we don't have to worry about that portion. Mephisto, Thanos endgame. This one didn't end up working on this attempt. I did get it to work before, so this just tells me it's going to be like an RNG type matchup. Which I honestly don't hate because we have better options that we could end up using into this. Let's go ahead and back out. The other matchup I did that I liked the Undying team did very well into this one. The Night Stalkers ended up working in here, so let's go ahead and do the Undying version. So we have 4-piece Undying, we have Quasar right here. For this one, it's just you making them kill each other just like before. It's pretty funny as far as that goes. So let's load in, and there's the Mind Control attack, Scarlet Witch into Greg. We're gonna special here into Gladiator, so now we got the bleeds out there. Let's go ahead special here, that's gonna get slow out there. And look at the damage from Mephisto. This is crazy. Let's go ahead special here. And yeah, he's dead. Mephisto, nowhere to be seen, which is hilarious. Let's go ahead and ult here. We push Thanos, that's fine. We're just going to get all our buffs back up anyways. Let's go ahead and spread all those negative effects. Now we got ability block on the Null. Gladiator's killed off. We got ability block here on Gore. We lost Zombie Iron Man. That's honestly fine. Let's go ahead into Gore and ult with Zombie Juggernaut. Get that striker shot in there. Now we can focus on this Thanos endgame. These two right here, they're just going to bleed out, or Scarlet Witch is going to kill them. There's the ult right there. And matchup over. Undying, ridiculous into this. Let's do the Night Stalkers version now. So for the Night Stalkers version, and by doing that one, the 4-piece, that saves our Ares, because before we needed Ares for that to really work. So for this one here, I'm going to end up switching Quasar over to a Raider, that we can end up getting those assists back and forth between Blade on here. The speed that we get from Night Stalkers kind of gets us ahead of it. Try to get off the Gladiator, go into the Null and Mephisto portion on here. Let's go ahead ult first with Quasar. Battlefield effect is out there now. Let's do an ult into Gladiator. Thanos endgame just got pushed right here. That's going to hurt. All right, let's go ahead and ult with Oath. So there goes Gladiator. All right, enemy Gore is taking their turn. There's the ult. Again, Gore can't remove our battlefield effects. Null is doing the ult right here. And we're hanging on by a thread. All right, so it looks like there we ended up losing Quasar. Let's go ahead and ult here. So because we lost Quasar, it means that we lost our drain portion from that. Let's go ahead and ult with Agatha. All right, get the assist right there. Thanos endgame bleeds out. Let's go into Null and Special. So there's the ability block into Null. Let's see if we can try to take out that Mephisto before he gets the ult off. All right, so there's a basic right there. All right, Special here into Null again. All right, so now the Carnage is out. That's actually not good. I think they're coming back a little bit too strong on this one. So I don't think this is going to be a victory. This was another one where it was able to get it work before. It's just a little bit more difficult. I think there's RNG as far as the push that you do on Gladiator if you get him off early enough. The next one where you want to test out is going to be the Orcus. Astral just turned that into way too easy just because of the buffs and what they can end up doing in there. So I won't show that one, but the Orcus team is one of my favorites to actually pair with Quasar right now, which is really funny. It just ramps up Orcus way too much because we're going to get that turn meter right here from Scientist Supreme. We're going to ult. This is going to get slow in everybody. Quasar's loads in with immunity, so we don't have to worry about him getting that slow, really. So there's the ult from the Omega Sentinel. Let's go ahead and special here. That's going to flip those defense ups into defense down. Let's go ahead, ult here. This is going to get that battlefield effect out. We almost got the kill on Thanos. There goes our buffs. But look at Mephisto right here. Let's go ahead, basic into Null. Null is doing the ult. Battlefield effect is in play. Mephisto's dead, so he just kind of died right there. Gore doing an ult. There goes Thanos endgame. There we lost Quasar, but the match is pretty much over. We have all of our Orcus members still left alive. And let's just stay on there. Let's special here. Alright, so Null, he's almost dead. There's a special for Null. We need Nimrod to take his turn so we can ultra on here. Alright, so Carnage there kind of going off. That's a lot of turn meter that Carnage kind of gave Null. So I don't love that. Alright, so there goes Scientist Supreme. And yeah, they're just kind of ramping up way too much. Let's go ahead, jump over to another team as far as what we're going to test into. So that one there, the Annihilators, Null, Mephisto. Like I said, I was able to get the other two to work. Quasar is a 5/5 on there. So this is a tougher one. Undying, I think, is going to be the easiest matchup. That's not going to take a lot of resources away from you. The Astral with Black Cat. So Annihilators, again, was a cakewalk. Undying was a huge cakewalk. I'm just going to show off these two. This is going to be the Night Stalkers and the Orchid. Night Stalkers and Orcus that goes into here. So we're going to keep Quasar, that Raider, on here. Just because of the Blade interaction. Now remember that Astral is actually a war team, so we have a lot of callouts on here. So let's go ahead. We're going to ult first here into MSF X-Men. So there we get the trauma. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to kill outright the Shadow King so I don't have to worry about him coming back. That way when Doctor Strange over here tries to do a revive, he's not going to come back. So there goes MSF X-Men with Oath doing the ult. Black Cat got a stun into Agatha. So that is going to be a little bit of RNG as far as who she ends up stunning on this one. Which before, when I did this one, she did end up getting the stun into Agatha. So there is that. Doctor Strange is doing the ult. So there we lost Agatha. MSF X-Men came back out. Let's go ahead and ult here. MSF going into Man-Thing right here. Alright, let's go ahead into Ancient One and Special. There's the no striker shot. Let's special here into Ancient One, get her killed off because she's the one that gives all that ability energy. There we go. We don't have to worry about that now. Let's go ahead special here into Doctor Strange because he's about to special into us. There's no ability block into him. MSF is dead. So Night Stalkers did incredible. The last time I did this matchup on here, I didn't lose anybody, but Agatha still got stunned and it was a huge cakewalk as far as that goes. Again, let's go into the Orcus version of this one. With Orcus being able to get all the slows out on them right off the bat, it's actually pretty amusing. So Scientist Supreme, like I said, is going to end up going first. We're going to ult. All right, so here we go. We're going to ult here. So there's slow. We got defense down. We got offense down. MSF taking the immunity off of Quasar is something you need to be mindful of. Let's go ahead and ult here. And I forgot to switch Quasar back over to a striker, but I don't think it's really going to matter. Let's go ahead. We can't flip anything. Let's go into Shadow King and ult. So there goes Shadow King. He's killed off. Let's go ahead. Go into Ancient One here because she's that energy battery for that team. So there goes MSF X-Men. There goes Black Cat. And let's go ahead and go more into Doctor Strange. Let's special here. Let's ult. That's going to get the ability block now into Doctor Strange. And no striker shot. There goes Ancient One. And now Doctor Strange is pretty much a goner. So Orcus, who knew, right? Let's go ahead jump over to the Liberty matchup. So this one here is going to be Liberty with Professor X. Annihilators, easy. Undying, easy. Night Stalkers, very interesting. We're going to keep Quasar, that Raider, for this portion on here. But yeah, Annihilators, Undying, walk over it. Astral, walk over it. This was surprising. So the way this works is we're going to go into Xavier. We're going to use the ultimate. This is going to get 2-turn ability block. So Xavier there is going to do a basic attack. Now we could end up doing an ultimate. That's going to kill Xavier. It's going to really mess up Falcon Joaquin and Cap Sam. Let's go into Peggy Carter and ult so we can get the exposed out there. So there goes Falcon Joaquin. We got ability block into Cap Sam, so we don't have to worry about him ulting, getting that turn meter. Peggy doing the ult. All right, let's go ahead and ult here. That's going to kill Cap Sam. All the assistant for Blade. And there goes Peggy. This is just ridiculous. So yeah, Night Stalkers, very good team going into Liberty as far as this goes. Because even if War Machine was there and not Xavier, it would be totally different. They'd walk over it even easier. Next one is going to be Orcus. Orcus, I wasn't able to get to work, but I get so close to it. So I kind of want to show you how this one plays out. Then we'll kind of talk about the realistic expectations for Quasar. How good is he actually going to be when he goes to the live service? I do want to talk about that. So right off the bat, Falcon Joaquin ends up going into this team right here. We're going to go into Xavier, do the ultimate. We got the ability block out there. We're going to end up ulting here. All right, so there we did get a stun on Xavier, but we need to be mindful of any ults that we use, because if we use the ultimate, that's going to end up cleansing these negative effects that's out there. There we end up losing, and you can kind of see how this starts going sideways a little bit. Let's go ahead and ult, get the slows out there. We did get the stun off, so we need to kill him as quickly as possible. Let's special to flip those negative effects to positive effects. Let's get rid of Xavier. There he goes. I'm going to end up specialing into Peggy Carter, flip her positive effects, which we didn't get to happen. So there goes Peggy Carter, popping off a little bit right there. Patriot going. All right, let's go ahead, go into Peggy. So there that goes. So yeah, it looks like it got it to work this time. I gave this a go about 2 or 3 times. I wasn't able to get it to work, so it's going to be some RNG right there. Let's go ahead and discuss what we can expect from Quasar. So what's the realistic expectations that we can have for Quasar? He's a 5/5 during this testing. I was using Striker, I was using Raider as far as the ISO selection goes, but the elephant in the room is going to be these Awaken abilities. We all know this. How are we going to end up getting these Awaken abilities? For the basic, this was just a flat luxury one. The stealing the extra health really didn't come into play during this. As far as that goes, it was this ultimate to where it's going to end up getting the battlefield effect out. So what's this battlefield effect do? If we go down to quantum constructs, on enemy turn, reduce the duration of 1 random positive effect by 2 on that enemy. That's basically when it comes out. This is going to be RNG. Reduce the assisted chance by 100% and active healing, so they're not going to heal as much. Enemies cannot gain charged or safeguard. This was huge. And it's basically locking out Odin. This is the main thing that we need if we ever go against Odins in war. It just ends up shutting it down because you only get this effect on war offense. Otherwise, you're not getting that. You're not even getting the trauma ability block on there. So the ultimate outside of war is just going to be clear charge, flip negative effect, heal, and do flat damage. That's all it's going to do outside. So in like Cosmic Crucible and stuff, that's all it's doing. This passive on war offense on any turn, clear barrier, and then get drain. So this extra drain for allies was pretty big as far as that goes. And that's in war offense as well. So his Awakened is only going to be useful in war. So in Cosmic Crucible, Battle World, all those other game modes, those awaken abilities aren't really going to do anything. It's just that game mode. However, in War, these two right here were very huge. Getting the extra drain and reducing the barrier on War offense was huge. The battlefield effect, you saw how it just shut down Odin on there. So I really want to know how we're getting these awaken abilities, because those two awaken abilities elevated Night Stalkers, Orcus, all these teams that we tested out before the awakened, and just lifted them to a whole nother level. It was pretty insane. I'm really excited for this character. Just the lifting that he's able to do on those older teams, put him back in the meta. And they're not even that old, it's just post-Ares characters that we used, just because I didn't want to influence people to use resources on these non-Ares characters. But let me know what you guys think about this. I'm really excited about this character. I'm hoping it translates over to the live server just as well as he played here. Again, we do need to take into account overpowered G20s and all that stuff, but he's definitely going to go to G20 for me, and I think he's going to end up doing very well in the Xavier saga, so I think you can actually use him as one of the 5 characters for Xavier. If you guys did enjoy this video, please remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.